Right, hello everybody, and we are here in what is the Auto Challenge series finale, along with the Season 3 finale. Over these 3 great seasons, we have brought you many brilliant videos of cars. Now, back almost a year ago, I had a simple idea. Something similar to what they do on Top Gear, comparing great cars. Now, it started out with a simple thing. We're going to go to reach into a bucket of Hot Wheels cars that I had and pick out a car and talk about them. Eventually, we had to end that season. So the next season we sort of continued with that, but we had moved new studio, new ideas, Chromecast, so we were able to begin casting things onto this once I got a new TV. Obviously we had sort of integrated it, but at the end we used this, and so it's changed a lot, so we were able to feature many more cars that we wouldn't have been able to feature. McLaren P1, Ferrari LaFerrari, Ferrari F12 Berlinetta, Koenigsegg Agera R, 2015 Ford Mustang, Lamborghini Aventador LP 720-450 Anniversario, Hennessy Venom, all brilliant cars that we wouldn't have been able to talk about if it wasn't for Chromecast. But this has to come to an end, and so it has. And you know, it's, you still can see that, can't you? And now I'm gonna do this, and now it just disappears. Now nobody can see it. Okay, now in this one here, we sort of figured, why don't we talk about 3 different cars? Because the other 2 seasons we talked about 2 cars during one episode, and I thought, season 3, let's talk about 3 different cars instead of 2, so we can get 1 winner. What happened was I sort of forgot about that because I had said that idea, many months ago. So I finally thought we didn't do that, so let's try that now in the final video. So for this video, we have selected 1 car each in the later summer that we had featured in the previous seasons, season 1 or season 2, or the first episodes of season, or all the episodes, so every episode that we had made before, cars from that we would feature, along with 2 new cars each that we had never talked about on here. And here's what these cars and the lineup for this finale episode is. For the Blade of Summer, the car he picked to have returned from previous one, season 1, was the Triumph TR6, and for me, from season 2, the McLaren P1. To go along with that, a new car that I introduced was the Lamborghini Sesto Elemento and Mercedes McLaren SLR. And for the Blade of Summer, the new cars that he has is the Porsche 911 Singer modified special version and the 2015 Subaru STI.
Yep.
And before we get all into this special finale, as you can see, we have finale written in the special colors of the season. All different ones that we used. So now we're just going to go down the list of these here cars that we talked about. In season 1, the Blade of Summer had the Aston Martin DB9, Subaru STI, Lamborghini Murcielago, Lamborghini Gallardo, Triumph TR6, Chevy Z06, and Nissan Cube. Where I talked about the Pagani Huayra, Mini Cooper, the Pyra again, Lamborghini Diablo, Ferrari 458 Italia, Ford GT, and Ferrari 612 Scaglietti. In season 2, the Blade of Summer had the Fisker Karma, Lamborghini Aventador, Ferrari 458 Spider, Pagani Huayra, Mustang Boss 302, and for the Christmas special we had the Mercedes-Benz 280 SL, and then we had the Nissan GTR. For the New Year special we had the Ferrari Enzo, and for episode 6 we had the Hennessy Venom GT, where I had the Lamborghini Countach, Lamborghini Aventador J, Ferrari 458 Italia, Lamborghini Miura, Ford GT40. For the Christmas special, Rolls-Royce Silver Shadow, Chevy Corvette Stingray, New Year special, Lamborghini Arlo, which the New Year was the final one that we had featured the Hot Wheels in. And then episode 6, the McLaren P1. And for season 3, the Koenigsegg Agera R, Nissan 370Z, Vector WX8, Pontiac GTO, Porsche 959, Triumph GR6, 2015 Subaru STI, and Porsche Singer 911, where I had the Porsche 918 Spider, Ferrari LaFerrari, Ferrari F12 Berlinetta, 2015 Ford Mustang, Lamborghini Aventador Anniversario, McLaren P1, Mercedes-Benz SLR McLaren, and the Lamborghini Sesto Elemento. Now, we thought we would do for this episode how each episode we will feature a special car that we talked about. For episode 5, we did a special on the important Lamborghinis, and for episode 4, we did Mustangs. So besides that, we do something each special. We talk about an important car, one that's either coming up or an important car from the past. But for this one here, we're going to talk each about an important car that was important to us through the 3 seasons of Auto Challenge. So up first, we have the Blade Runner Summer, with a bit of a ridiculous car to have this most important car through the whole season, whole series, but it's this. Cannot believe it. You are absolutely ridiculous.
Well, that was the thing. What the importance of this one is that this went up against, what, a Ferrari? Okay? And using a Nissan Cube, you were out-debated with which car was better. So I was able to convince you and everybody that a Nissan Cube was better than a Ferrari.
Now.
So that's why.
Can I finish?
Can I finish, please?
Yes.
Let me finish.
Yes.
That's why it's important. Not the fact that the car is really
A piece of
not
crap.
anything, but it was just that it was able to be convinced and debated and proven that this little box thing is better than a Ferrari.
Now, for those of you watching in the comments below, we want to hear your opinion over the next week. Before we do our special one where we ask different random questions and stuff like that. For the final send-off, do you think a Nissan Cube is better than a Ferrari 612 or 612 Scaglietti? And if you think that this is better than it, write that below. Or if you think the Ferrari is better.
But actually listen to the show, or watch the show, and get how it was discussed, and my point of view, and how eloquently and how wonderfully I deliberated and proven that it was better.
And if you want to see this, you can go to, I don't know where to search it on YouTube, but just search Auto Challenge Season 1, Episode 6, and it's going to have the Nissan Cube against the Ferrari. Right.
And then you can decide for yourself.
And write in the comments below, and we will feature that, and maybe give you a shout out in the next video that we do. For me, to be honest, the car was a bit more exciting that we featured. It was this. This one here, I think, is the most important car to me. Well, I know is the most important car to me during all of Auto Challenge over the season. And the reasons for it is quite simple. Look at it. This car here is a brilliant looking car. It uses brilliant technology, but the fact is, it's forgetting all about that for once. What we always talk about, what makes it important to me on this series was that it was the first actual time that I beat the Blade Runner Summer on here. Now, I did beat him during the Christmas special and New Year's one. But this one here was the first time that I officially beat him during a real challenge. As you can see during this season, if we show the studio eventually, it's up here on the wall. The first time that I ever won. And that's what makes this car special. Right. So as we shall now get into this week's main challenge, We are each going to talk about something. But first, before we do get into that, to go along with something that the Blader Summer will be featuring on later, the 2015 Subaru STI, here is a brilliant concept look at a mix between the BRZ and an STI. And that is it's called the Subaru BRZ Concept STI. And as you can see the wheels of the STI and the front nose of BRZ. So it all comes together, as we shall show you what the other one looks like. This is the STI that we will be talking about later in the series. And what car do you want to talk about first, though?
So the TR6.
Right. So to begin this here, the Blader Summer has picked the Triumph TR6. This picture here we've been using since season 1 to talk about this car. And if you give me 1 second, you go grab my phone for this video.
You can sit and you can enjoy this car. And actually, it's kind of funny. They have the top down, and the person behind them has an umbrella. So it's kind of a funny thing. Is it raining with the top down?
Yeah, you actually.
Or the person has an umbrella, and
they drove it with the roof down on top here.
Well, they drove it with an umbrella. One or the other.
Anyways, what we're going to do special for this episode is also to move it along a bit faster, so you don't spend the whole night talking about each car. We're going to put 5 minutes and 30 seconds on the time. Well, 30 seconds, that way you can get ready. So, anyways, we're going to put...
Well, that is about 5 minutes. Go ahead.
You're going to have 5 minutes. Each of us will have 5 minutes to talk about not all of our cars, but each car for 5 minutes. So try to use up all your time, as much as you can. And this here will begin round 1 of the Triumph TR6 against... Well, I'm not going to run my car yet. 3, 2, 1... Go.
Alright, this is I picked this car for a comeback. This is the car that I like. They stopped producing them in 1976. But you take a look at that styling, it's really nice. It's something that it's a timeless design. It's got a straight 6-cylinder. You could got it in fuel injection in Europe, but in America they had a carburetor on them, which has actually made it a little more reliable. The only real problem these cars had was with overheating, but it's a nice, neat, open design. You go fast. You can just imagine this going on the country road in a car like that. You know, it has a really good timeless look. It doesn't have, like a lot of the muscle cars just have this exotic sort of swoopy, looks like kind of a funky bug with its exoskeleton and all that weird stuff. But this is this is just a really nice, good looking car. It looks like a car instead of like a weapon or a missile or something.
Like the supercars.
And this is in there. It is nice, and you can just imagine you're gonna have like some little starlet with a scarf in her hair, just cruising along, going on a picnic somewhere. You know, that's what the real true heart of a little convertible sports car like this. Typically, they came with a 4-speed, though you could get special ones with overdrive, which came in later. Also, some came with a limited slip differential, which was kind of nice. Actually improved handling, but again, they're just iconic. I mean, it's like those supercars come and go. They're just toys for the rich. Where this is a nice, just a good car. They only made like 94,000 of them. So if you see one like that, you see one. I got them especially in that hunter green with red wall tires on them. Good look, good look. Look, it's right out of Mingo.
Have you ever seen one?
Looks like a Hot Wheel.
How many have you seen?
I've seen lots of them, but they're actually very, very popular back in the 70s and early 80s, and now as time going on, it's just they've been going only to collectors, because a lot of them have just gone by either they, off the road, junked, or whatever. They're among the collectors, and it's just.
Would you own one?
I'd love to have one of those cars because it's just iconic.
It is truly a brilliant car.
It is. It really, really is. It's just one of the, probably one of the greatest cars to come out of England.
Mhm.
So that's why it is what it is. It's just, you know, and again, look at this. It's just got nice style, not just swooped down and, you know, looking kind of crazy. It's just, you know, actually the back end is actually a part of the design came from Carmen, and Carmen is responsible for some of the designs on Volkswagens. So again, it's got a real good European, good look. It looks good in American roads, and it's just, I don't know, I think it outdoes so many of the supercars. The supercars are just super exotic, super swoopy, super this and that. This is when cars were cars, the machines that people would drive, and it wasn't so self-absorbed with technology, and, you know, it was just designed for fun, designed for just getting out on the open road. So, it is what it is.
And that was the first car that we had talked about in this here, and it was actually from one of the original episodes. Now, on to the next car. My first car to talk about is another brilliant car to come out of Britain. And this is a special, very, very special car right here. This here is the McLaren P1. And I'm going to start the timer before I forget that.
Looks like an alien.
And B. Okay, so the McLaren P1. Where the Triumph TR6 was a brilliant car for going around in a brilliant car. I don't know what's actually going with that. Where the Triumph TR6 was a brilliant car to come out of Britain, that was good in its time. Another brilliant car to come out of Britain that was good in its time is this car, where the Triumph TR6 came out in like the 70s, right? The TR6 was from the 70s.
Ooh,
I know, I've seen that. It was from the 70s.
What?
TR6.
Yep, this was the 70s.
So, in the 70s, the Triumph TR6 was a brilliant car in Britain. They've had other brilliant cars. The Mini Cooper. The McLaren F1. And I think for this time, for this decade, the brilliant car that will come out of Britain will be this. The McLaren P1. This has 903 horsepower. Now, where the TR6 is a car that didn't go as fast, but was still a pretty fast car, and it had great looks at this time, this one here has a great look now. But they're different.
Busy.
This one here is meant to be aerodynamic, to get the most out of the car. Because of the time now, of the world, it's about being better for the earth. Correct?
Yeah, that's kind of homely, though.
Right. To be better for the earth.
You know, it reminds me of the guy from
Can I finish?
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Can I finish?
Yeah.
Thank you. Now, for this time of being better for the environment, this car shows that the supercar can still be there. Still be there through the times of people saying, we need to do so much to save the earth. This car shows a start for the supercar. Other cars we've had, the Porsche 918 Spider, Fisker Karma, Ferrari LaFerrari, all using different hybrid technology. This in here, 903 horsepower, like I said, about 800 of it from the gas-powered engine, and 100 of it from the batteries. Well, this car here is just absolutely brilliant, because the technology that's required, the air being channeled through it, going here, coming across here, so it has more air flowing across it, so it channels the air better. Something the Blader Summer should learn to do, channel his air. But the things that they did with this car are absolutely brilliant. I just think the McLaren did a brilliant job designing this car, and how the Blade of Summer would want to own a Triumph TR6, I would want to own a McLaren P1. And not really making many of them because they're very hard to make because of all their hybrid stuff, and they're only making 370 another. Yeah, they're only making 375 of them, and they're already all sold out. As I was saying about the McLaren P1, on Top Gear they said that around town it was Al Gore with a windscreen wiper. I felt like that was necessary. Now, on to the next car for this brilliant finale episode. We have the Blade of Summer telling you about one of the cars that I like a lot, and I liked from the season 20 of Top Gear. This car actually was when we were in Vermont on vacation. This year was the episode that they had featured the Porsche Singer and the Lamborghini Sesto Elemento. I believe they were both from the same episode. But I'm assuming you're going to use that. You're going to say what said on there about the car?
I'm ready. Go ahead.
Right. And begin.
Alright. The singers go in and they just take and redo and make an amazing car even more amazing.
True there.
And take that classic Porsche 911. Look at that thing. Good looking car. You know, again, it has style and design. So much more nicer than these new rockets they have out there. This car's got class and style and human design that's just top notch. They put them out there and it's designed for drivers. This too, like Triumph TR6, it's a driver's car. Not meant just to be a toy for the rich or just something exotic and crazy and just going to the limits of design. It's a machine created for a person who likes to drive. Handling, power, the speed, the control, you know, the drivability of it. And that's what it's all about. That's why people get cars. They get cars to drive them because they're drivable and fun. Not just something that just tries to be a scientific wow as a toy for the rich or the ultra rich. I mean, something this would have to be for someone who's rich, like Jay Leno. And
that's, of course, he owns the McLaren P1.
Yeah, and of course, and so you have to go with what Jay Leno says. If you like, or even for those who are Top Gear fans, you can't refute the things from James May. Mm-hmm. And say this car is it. This is the kind of car that is just so good.
As he said, it's a love letter to a car.
That's right. So anybody that would write a love letter to a car, it's something that's just unbeatable, unmatchable. So try as anybody may, something like this would just be a wonder to drive.
And he said that because this here was a love letter to the original Porsche.
So, with that, you know, this is a super duper. And again, look at the design. Very, very nice. It's a car. It's not just so whitewashed and kind of blurred out with just lines to make it super aerodynamic. It's aerodynamic, but it has class. It has looks. It has a distinguishing. It's a car. It's a good car. You know, it's something that's fun to drive, not just something that's just a science project. There's passion in the design. There's passion in how you drive it. And that's what it's about, the really human element. And I think a lot of the newer supercars remove the human element just to make it a science project. Okay, there you go.
And that was the Blade of Summer telling you about what I do agree with is a brilliant, brilliant car. One thing about that car is the fact that bits of that car they took off of old Porsche that they found that people had, like, crashed or, you know, scrapped or something. Well, not scrapped, but, you know, most likely crashed, got the bits of it, put it together, so it has some old bits of Porsche on it. here we go. The next car. For my second car, what I decided to pick was again a car that I thought was brilliant. Previously, we've seen two cars that me and the Blazer Summit each featured before. Triumph GR6 and the McLaren P1. With this here with the Porsche 911 Stinger, the Mercedes McLaren SLR, which this is, Sesto Elemento, and Subaru STI are cars that we have not talked about on this series. This here is the SLR. It's called the Mercedes-Benz SLR McLaren. That is a very long name for a car, but the fact is that Mercedes-Benz and McLaren, or we're just going to call Mercedes, Mercedes and McLaren joined together to make this car. Now, at this time, McLaren was owned partially by Mercedes. So, it made sense that they would work together. And, it's just a crazy hypercar. You can just look at this car and say, that is crazy. You can see how pointy the front nose is and how flat it is. How the doors go way up. It is an absolutely crazy car. Whereas you've seen before how the McLaren P1 is a technological advancement for hybrid cars and everything, this is a technological advancement for non-hybrid cars. It's a brilliant supercar. You can see how the air flow has been always a thing that challenged the cars a lot recently in the past 10 years. And this here's one of the, I believe, maybe one of the first cars to do it. This car here really uses these three lines are really the first. We're going to channel the air. The air goes in there and slides along the side better. Many cars now have big things here to move it everywhere, but this here is really the first car to do that. To move the air in a very interesting way. Along with that, this car here was SLR, that's what it is, which means Sport Legend Rennsport, which also means Sport Light Racing. And they had made 350 of them. And many of them brilliant design. They even made the SLR Sterling Moss. Another brilliant car. Windowless, roofless car, along as what we've seen with the Lamborghini Aventador J last season. So they made a bunch of them. And they set goals to make 500 each year. And they missed that by a lot. Because they were going to sell 500 each year. The first year they sold 650. Brilliant. Next year, 261. The next year, 275. So it's not really brilliant sales for the car as what they set as their goal. But overall, it's a brilliant car. It has active aerodynamics, which means the spoiler is also a air brake, which means that it comes up, increases downforce, and it can help you slow down really fast. And so it automatically raises the 10 degrees, and in the 722 edition, 50 degrees. And you can change it yourself to 30 degrees, or in the 722 375 for increased rear downforce. But overall, brilliant car. And now it's time for the Blazer Summit to tell about his final car. of ever.
Mm-hmm.
There you go, right on the time too.
Look at that. Look
And
at
this
that
here
car.
is the final card the Blader 7 will ever talk about on Auto Challenge. Apart from next week, we have our special finale. Well, this is the finale, but you know we have a special where we review the whole series.
Mhm.
And begin. Right now. Go. We're talking.
This car, being that a Subaru kind of guy, you know, it is the STI, the new one, is just a sports car kind of dream, you know, and it's a car that can be, you know, that people can afford. At, you know, it's a tad more than just your average price, you know, for a lot of the cars. It's in the 30 between 30 and 35,000 to get a new one, but you're getting 308 horsepower and you're getting 150 miles an hour top speed. Okay, so you're getting right up there with a lot of them other supercars, you know, for just a little car from Japan.
Wow.
The design.
See how it is. Just say little cars from Japan. Italy makes little cars to go
Mhm.
fast.
It's what?
You're just being offensive to Japan.
No, that's not
little
being
cars
offensive.
from Japan.
I'm not making it offensive. It's just
Yes, you are.
people. It's not the big old fancy luxury thing out of Italy or England. You know, it's a nice little. You know, people would make synonymous with this a good car that's gonna have that the Subaru heritage of having lasting forever and being well made and. You know, a great car, so it's got a lot going for it. It has all the things you'd want from a car that's going to be dependable, last a long time, and what you're going to get is you're going to get a great handling, fast, sporty car that's going to go, you know, you can take it and do some, you know, some good driving, even going a little bit on some of the dirt roads and things like that with the all-wheel drive, or you can just go onto a track or, you know, wherever you want to go and do some handling. The all-wheel drive is right there. You got them sticky tires, and you got all the speed you need, and you have this specialized 6-speed transmission for going in and, you know, just the shifting and handling and getting into your corners and downshifting and do all the different things for having a good, fun driving experience. So if you want something that you're going to have fun to drive, and it even has a nice look. It kind of maintains some of that Subaru look, being a little bit different. Even though it is starting to lean, looking like a lot of other cars. You know, you can see a little bit of that Ford Taurus.
This car, dude. This car looks brilliant.
Oh, it does. It's a good-looking car, but again, it's starting to get some of the design elements of other cars instead of being so unique that Subaru was known for. But still, you know,
Best looking Subaru ever.
It's a good-looking car. It's a fast car, a dependable car. It has everything that you know you want. At the $35,000, you know, if you even get a 6-year loan to pay for it, it'll be fun to drive 6 years after you take it out of the showroom. So, as much as you can take and go and talk about some other fancy Italian, you know, supercar, you know, this is a car that you know has all the safety ratings. Lasts a long time, good value for the money. You know, in this day and age of the economy, that you're not going to, most people, the majority of people, only the top 2% are going to be able to get Lamborghinis and Ferraris and things like that.
Pharrell can.
Well, Pharrell's a superstar right now, so he makes a lot of money from concerts and from TV appearances and
Pharrell owns an SLR.
people buying it and his downloads for his songs.
And everybody being happy.
Right.
See what I did there?
Got it. But the but this is I think this is the card for even if someone has money to go if you even have more money that you can spend 50, 60, you can get into the Jaguars and the Audis and the Lexuses and the Infinities.
And the Mercedes.
This is kind of a car that you can probably get into. May not cost as much, and it looks good and it performs as good as all of them. So this is the thing about this car: value and performance. That's what it's all about. Okay.
Now there's one thing There is another car though that you can have instead of that, but I would still probably take the Subaru over. I'm gonna show.
Evo. Are
Wait.
you gonna put that in your Focus?
No. This is definitely way better than Focus. And we're gonna open this image in the new tab. I hate that sound. Stop. Your stupid time is up. You could have this though.
Well, it's a different price range.
Nuh-uh. $29,000 right
What's
there.
that one? Well, that's a different kind of car.
No, I'm just saying you could have this for a bit cheaper, but I'd still have the Subaru.
You know, I think would you rather have the high-end car from a brand, or would you rather have the low? You know. So I think.
Yeah, would you? Yeah, do you want to have the highest range Subaru or the lowest range Mercedes? Because really, what you're buying is the logo. What you're buying is the brand. Because that car, it's a good car, but I still have the Subaru.
Yeah, I imagine that you take the Subaru would probably go faster and outhandle that car, even though that'd be a little more on the luxury side.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to have a nicer, you know, if you're gonna go in and drop a lot of money on something like a Chrysler 300.
Who would buy a Chrysler 300?
People.
These things are terrible.
Some people like it, or you're gonna go out and you're gonna buy the Buick.
I have this.
Mm-hmm.
This here. As I shall now begin. To begin, first I just want to point out that we have the Top Gear logo on this, just to sort of show where I sort of got the idea from making this series from. But besides that, for the final car we shall ever talk about on here, and a main challenge, of course, we have our video next weekend where we review this series, say what we liked about it, what was made it fun to do and everything, and you know, memorable moments of it. But besides that, make sure you tune in for that. But this here is a brilliant way to end off a brilliant series and a brilliant season, which I hope you all enjoyed very much. This here is none other than the same way that we started. An Italian supercar. This here is the Lamborghini Sesto Elemento. Or in Italian, which means sixth element. Or Sesto Elemento means sixth element in Italian. Which on the periodic table of elements is carbon, which is its atomic number. Carbon. And this car here is mostly made out of carbon fiber. They only made 20 of these cars. It's based off of the Lamborghini Gallardo, which is a very popular car that Lamborghini had made. This one here is a special one that they only make, like I said, 20 of. But this one here, it's the same V10 engine from the Gallardo. And it has an all-wheel drive system. It didn't really start getting popular. Because the production of it was in 2011, but not until 2013 had they announced that they were going to make them. And they are only for track use. And they can go from $2.2 million to $2.9 million. And this one here has hexagonal holes in the engine cover, which they can help, which that's where the air is released out of. And actually, because I like this car so much, I ended up buying a remote control car of it. But I don't really use it for a remote control car. I'm going to use it for the series. So there's this 10 holes right there. So yeah, well, you can see on the camera right here. Well, there's 10 holes right there, and 2 here. That's where the air goes in. That's the air intakes, and that's the air outtake. Something along those lines. But anyways, this here, the Sesto Elemento, is an absolutely brilliant car. And it only weighs 2,202 pounds, which isn't very much. And that is the end of this series. So,
Correct.
along with the Blade Runner Summer, we both like to say thank you for watching.
Thank you for watching.
And that this year has been very fun to make. Don't you agree?
Oh, amazing.
Making this series has been fun over the last almost year. Really enjoyable for both of us to do. That's a very special thing on this channel, and hopefully we'll tune into the replacements for this. That we have Auto Compare with Curtis, and we have Supercars with Curtis, where we talk about still Supercars, one we compare, and one we just talk about one car.
Mm.
But so hopefully you will tune in to next week's video that we have of this, where each of us will tell and answer questions. So make sure in the comments below you have your questions that you want to ask either one of us. Just make sure you write who it's for. So you can write summer next year or winter or both, and then we can answer your questions.
Mm-hmm.
If you have questions, and if you do, you might also get a shout out from one of us, which would be very, very interesting. But that is the end, as we shall now show you the cars for the finale one more time. Here they are, the cars that fought it out till the end through this. For the final auto challenge ever, the Triumph GR6, McLaren P1, Cester Elemento, Mercedes-Benz SLR, McLaren, Porsche 911 Singer, and Subaru WRX. Actually, no, it doesn't have WRX in it. Subaru STI.
Woohoo!
They used to have WRX in the name, but they got rid of that part, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because they're separate cars now.
Yep.
The WRX and STI. The STI used to be
Well, no, WRX is different from the Impreza. WRXTI is a WRX.
Oh, they still did that. So it is still the WRX.
Yeah, WRX STI, but they just separated
Impreza
Impreza and WRX.
Okay. So it still is the same thing. The STI, so it is the WRX STI. They got rid of the Impreza part of it. Because it used to be the Impreza WRX STI. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So the STI, anyways. But there it is. The brilliant cars. The brilliant series. The Blade Runner Summer.
Hooray!
And thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching.